So fixing the drought and upping your income at the same time is very doable. Crosby running for office, California here. I want to talk about mostly the electric shares. I'm going to mention a lot of people will find material that I've put out that will say up California's portfolio $28K per year. Well, actually, I'm now looking at 34 permanent funds to be created, brand new funds. This is something I'm into, doing new creations, not screwing up old things. One of the things that I want to reiterate again, because a lot of people don't understand, is I want to force the allowance of Social Security funds to be used as loan leverages for home purchases, up to basically $90K in most cases. Obviously, some people get a little larger amounts of money, but the vast majority of people would fall into the zone aforementioned. Basically, the interest rates would be allowed to be returned directly back to your Social Security funds, which means you would be borrowing your own money. Makes sense, don't it? You should be able to borrow your own money. This is basically a 14K a year asset capture for most people over the course of 10 years. The next item I'm moving on to is California mining and oil shares. There's material that I've put out previous that I state that basically that we're going to reroute money from the general fund that has been showing up basically from mining, oil shares, minerals, electric, etc. Basically right here, some of the previous material I published is showing a 7 to 14K a year cash capture to Californians with a real chance of reaching 60K. Now, depending upon your actual income level, a lot of things change. If you're at the bottom of the income bracket, so to speak, you're going to notice a 7 to 14K. If you're a homeless person, basically, and you qualify as a vested citizen, in other words, all you basically have to do is go rent a place, and the electric shares alone are going to give you a $900 a month income. This factor would have to be have a minus put against it of basically the amount of electricity that you would use. What people need to understand is every time the state takes money away from something that naturally belongs to you, that means that they're lowering your personal income level, your personal profit level. This is to say, this is the same thing when you have somebody do an emergency stopgap measure. Basically for every dollar that has been taken away by an emergency stopgap measure or a tax, that means income's lower. Effectively, this also means that because your income is now lower, that means this money isn't circulated on a wide general base. We're talking about understanding the physics of trickle-up economics, not trickle-down economics. So basically what happens is it's a 240% loss to the state in the next year and a half to 2 years because that money doesn't circulate in use to create jobs, to create brand new assets, more business opportunity, which means that a year and a half, 2 years later, because they took $1 away from you today, a year and a half, 2 years later, they're not going to collect taxes on that dollar because it's gone. And a lot of people don't understand this. If you go up to someone that has a $10,000 a year income and you tax them and say, okay, we're taking $1,000 away from them, you're also keeping in mind basically the fact that they'd probably spend a bunch of that money buying things, which means the state loses their general 9% tax on the whole. So that means that that's also gone, which means that the new tax didn't get them $1. It only got them 91 cents. And because of the additional circulations of losses, these become a domino effect. This translates out into a 240% loss. So basically, when we're taking what naturally belongs to the people to begin with, because it's our credit ratings and our money that were used to build most of these power plants. You know, of course, we have some that are private. I'm just talking about the ones that we paid for with our money and our credit ratings. Those are ours. That's our property. We own those. So basically, my plan is to build some more dams, basically mini dams. This is not to say that my vision of it is completely different than what you'll run into. A lot of people designing the things that I'm interested in designing are very environmentally friendly. In my policy, I'm going to triple the amount of fish that we have in wild stock, because I believe also because California is facing an imminent emergency of a great natural disaster at any given point in time. We're overdue. So, you know, I want to restore salmon. I want to restore fish. And there's a lot of people who have brilliant ideas on how we can do this. And dam projects don't have to be an environmental cluster frack basis. Instead of just running on with these stopgap measures that are just shrinking the economy as we go. California's is targeted to $900 a month. That means we're going to have to build some more electrical plants, which is also part of the drought update. This is how we are going to effectively do some repairs to some of the problem of water management in the state and cover some of our new water needs. They're very proven, and it's going to be great. We're going to end up with... All right, now, okay, now future power needs being covered, of course, this is going to create jobs. I'd love to mention jobs. Okay, and we're going to deal with the price per kilowatt here. A simple example, we're going to stop the high tier and the penalties that to people that go over 8 cents. It varies where you're at, but some people get penalized because they're using too much. Yet we have other parties that are getting discounts, high volume discounts, and effectively, if you understand the loss in tax revenue and all of these other cross-connected programs to that discount situation, you effectively have many industries paying 2.5 cents per kilowatt. Yet you have people who are disabled and retired, low-income people that are only allowed to go to an 8 cent per kilowatt level. I mean, this is fascinating that we have people that get a cheaper rate than disabled and elderly and low-income people. So effectively, we're going to be re-leveling. We're no longer going to have these extreme discounts for volume. The fiscal impact on, for instance, food cost is minuscule. I'm sure that if you got $900 a month income, you really wouldn't care very much if your canned food bill or your basic food bill, you know, went up by $12, maybe a little more. So fixing the drought and upping your income at the same time is very doable.